Hi, and welcome to AWS Security Basics, an introduction to AWS Identity and Access Manager. I will be your instructor for this course. My name is Troy Artist. Why should you take this course? If you're an IT professional who would like to advance their career and learn cloud technologies with a strong focus on security, you should take this course. If you're a security professional who would like to know the basic of security in AWS public cloud, you should take this course. If you are technical and a motivated professional looking to change careers and learn the security basics of one of the most sought after skills, you should take this course. Hi, once again, my name is Troy Artist. I have been in the IT industry for over 18 plus years where I worked in various roles such as developer, system admin, DevOps engineer, and cloud security architect. I presently hold 3 of AWS certifications, the CCSK and the Safe DevOps certification. A little fun fact about me. I am so passionate about technology that I have created a digital marketing business where I create automated marketing campaigns for real estate professionals and small businesses to help them generate more traffic and leads. It is recommended that you have at least 1 or more years working as an IT or security professional and have some high-level knowledge of the public cloud. In order to complete the lab exercises, you would need an AWS account. I recommend you sign up prior to the lab exercises by going to aws.amazon.com. In this course, you will learn what is AWS Identity and Access Manager, learn what is the AWS account root user, IAM groups, and the best practices for using them. And you will also learn what are roles and permission and when to use them. Lastly, I will walk you through creating your first IAM user and group and then add administrative permission to the group. So first, let's talk about what is AWS IAM. IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. It enables you to manage access to AWS services and resources securely. It is used to allow or deny access to AWS resources. There's no additional cost associated with using IAM. When you first create your AWS account, you begin with a single sign-on identity that has complete access to all AWS services and resources in the account. This identity is called the AWS account root user, and it is accessed by signing in with the email address and the password that was used to create the account. AWS strongly recommends that you do not use the root user for your everyday tasks, even the administrative ones. It is best practices to use the root user to create your first IAM user. So now the IAM user's credentials are different from the root user credential. As an IAM user, the identity you create in AWS to represent the person or application that uses it to interact with AWS service. An IAM user has permission policies applied. This determines what the identity can and cannot do within AWS. Remember, an IAM user with administrative permission is not the same thing as the AWS account root user. Now, let's dig into IAM groups. IAM groups is a collection of IAM users where you are able to specify permissions for multiple users, which makes it much easier to manage permissions for a collection of users that needs the same privileges instead of assigning permissions individually. IAM users in a group automatically has the permissions that are assigned to the group. So IAM roles is an identity that you create in your account that has specific permission. IAM roles is similar to an IAM user as it has the permission that determine what the identity can and cannot do in AWS. But an IAM role can be associated with a user, a group, or a service. Permission policies are the enforcers of IAM. You manage access to the AWS resources and services by creating policies in IAM and applying them to different identities such as users, groups, and roles. You can also apply them to some AWS services and resources. When you apply a policy to identity services, this defines their permission. Now that you have a good understanding of the different identities related to IAM, let's talk about the IAM console, which we will be using for the upcoming exercise. The AWS Management Console provides a web-based way to administer AWS services, creating IAM users, IAM groups, and so on. The image below shows the root account user logged into the console. Let's take a moment to celebrate what you've learned in this lesson by testing your understanding of some key terms. AWS Administrator is created when you set up your account. True or false? False. The AWS IAM Administrator is created after you set up your root account. Remember, your root account is to use your email and your user password. You can apply permission policies to your root user. True or false? Once again, this is false. You can only apply permission policies to a user, a group, or a role. The root users by default has all access to the account. Great job. Hopefully you feel like you have a handle on the basics of IAM. See, now let's switch to the actual lab exercises. In the lab exercises, we will be creating your first IAM user and adding the user to a group. Let's sign into AWS Console by using your root user account. Once you have logged in, you want to type in IAM to find IAM Management Console. Now we want to create our first group. Click on the Create New Group button, type in Admins, click on Next Step, then click the checkbox next to Administrator Access. Click Next Step, click Create Group. Now you have created your first group that has admin access. Now let's create your first user. Click on the Add User button, type in Cybrary User, actually Cybrary Admin. Click AWS Management Console. For console password, leave auto-generated password on and leave the checkbox Require Password Reset. Click on Next Permission. Choose the admin group that we just created in the last step. Click Next. Let's click Next Review and then Create User. Now let's close it and you've done. Now let's go over a lesson summary. In this lesson, we discussed AWS Identity and Access Manager and what it is used for. We also talked about the root user account versus the IAM admin user. We talked about the group's roles and permission and also what are they used for and how they can be used. And we created your first user and group where you were able to apply the admin permission policy.